spokeswoman for the English Collective of Prostitutes. And as I said, if you're tweeting, no tweet us at prostitutes.com. The ECP, as we refer to them, campaigns for the decriminalisation of sex work and the safety of sex workers. And at the LRC, particularly actually Sussex LRC, we're very keen supporters of the ECP. We feel very strongly that sex workers need to be recognised as workers, just like any other form of work, and just like any other worker, they need workers' rights. They don't need to be criminalised. Certainly, they don't need their clients criminalised, because that just leads them into more dangerous places and more dangerous trades. Anyway, I don't think you need to hear that from me. I think it's much better off if you hear it from Laura. Laura Watson.
Hi everyone, thank you very much for having us. We're absolutely delighted to be here. Just a bit more about who we are. We're a group of sex workers and former sex workers. We've worked in various areas of the sex industry, both on the street and indoors. With our sister organisation, US Prostitutes Collective, and our international network, we're campaigning to end the criminalisation sex workers face so that we can work together in safety and without discrimination. But we're not happy hookers, we don't glamorise prostitution, but like all workers, we stake a claim to the wealth that our work produces, and we want the money and the resources so that we can get out of prostitution if we want to. The ECP is often referred to as the Girls' Union, and we do a lot of the work, similar work that trade unions do. For example, we defend workers' rights, and we have fought hundreds of legal cases and won against charges of things like soliciting, closure orders, antisocial behaviour orders, brothel keeping and controlling. Those last two, which are often most used against women who are working together for safety. Women, as we well know, have borne the brunt of the cuts and austerity. One example is in Doncaster, where outreach workers say that over 40% of the women working on the street are there specifically because of benefit sanctions and are selling sex for as little as £5 to put money in the electricity meter. When they gave out food parcels in that outreach project, the women went home, proving that they were only there because they had nothing to eat that day. Decriminalisation is vital and would do a number of things, but would particularly increase safety because we could work together and would not be deterred from reporting rape and violence to the police we could report it without fear of arrest. It would provide legal and social recognition as workers, and we would be entitled to improve our working conditions, get a pension and form and join trade unions. And crucially also for us, our social contribution would not be as invisible. Most of us are mothers, we estimate that 70% of sex workers are mothers. And the money that we make from prostitution is ensuring the survival of families and sometimes entire communities, topping up low benefits, low wages, and substituting for losses in public services. We're also supporting the demand for a living wage for mothers and other carers because most of us are mothers, and we know that if our caring work were paid for, we would have the choices, more choices, including to leave prostitution if we wanted to. One woman in our network said recently at a meeting, actually hosted by John McDonnell here, said, "I am the mother of a disabled child with learning difficulties. To pay for the basics that most people take for granted, keeping warm, having decent food, replacing essential furniture, I have worked on the street corners as a prostitute. Most of the other girls that I meet on the street are there to keep their families together and their children out of care. What I want is a little recognition. I'm not asking for the £1,000 they would pay a stranger to do my job as a mother. Just a little of that money would have made my life and my daughter's life much easier, and I could have got off that street corner." We're currently up against, there is opposition to decriminalisation, and it's been led by a lobby of establishment feminists and well-funded religious fundamentalists. They're pressing for increased criminalisation via as Claire said, the criminalisation of clients. And they know very well that it will not stop prostitution, and that campaign doesn't address the poverty that we face or we're trying to escape when we're in prostitution, but and the fact that it will make it much more dangerous and stigmatising for us to work. But there is a lot of money to be made from their campaign and from that law and order measure to criminalise clients. And unfortunately, trade unions such as Unison and the TUC Women's Committee support them. But times are changing in our favour, including even in the Labour Party, who, when in government, actually increased the criminalisation of both sex workers and clients. And as recently as last year, some Labour MPs tried to introduce legislation to criminalise clients. John McDonnell MP is the principled example, spearheading parliamentary opposition to increased criminalisation and criminalisation full stop. However, in the run-up to the general election, no Labour candidate responded to say they supported the blanket criminalisation of clients, so that's a massive victory for us. And the SNP, as an anti-austerity party, opens up new possibilities for us in and out of Parliament. We're working with our network in Scotland to capitalise on that. Finally, we do have a model for decriminalisation that works. They have decriminalisation in New Zealand and introduced the legislation in 2003. Crucially, it means that sex workers can work together, which is obviously more safer. They have forced the power out of the boss's hands because you can run premises collectively with you and your friends without having a boss there. Sex workers in New Zealand have fought and won for compensation against bad working conditions. And they have the right to set, obviously if you're working collectively in premises, you have the right to set your own conditions, prices, and you have the backing of the law to implement that. We need support from organisations like the PCS and other trade unions to win decriminalisation and therefore safety. We have support from various organisations already. The International Labour Organisation recognises sex work as work, and self-employed sex workers are as legitimately employed. The Communication Workers Union supports decriminalisation, as does GMB and the Labour Representation Committee. So we have a pledge which we're hoping many of you can sign and take to your organisations, and we also hope that you can sign our living wage for mothers and other carers. Thank you.
Thanks to Laura, that was a very interesting and thought-provoking speech. And I'd just add that for those of you who are actually locals down here in Brighton, something that's always surprising, given her reputation, is that actually Caroline Lucas is one of the leading advocates of criminalisation. And if you are one of her constituents, I do encourage you to keep on at her. I've actually contacted her many times on this, and I find that each time I contact her, it takes longer and longer and longer to get a response from her. She's clearly an issue on which she's got a closed mind, and the only thing that's going to change her mind is if more and more people can get in touch with her. So if you are a local from Brighton and in the Brighton constituency, I really encourage you to do that. I encourage you to do that whichever constituency you're in, but given the role she's playing in Parliament and pushing the issue, I'd really like you to do that.